Ooh.
Dear Tasia, how do you feel about the apology to something disrespectful not being as grand as you would like it to be? I'm in a situation where I've been in my relationship for quite some time and I found out a few years back that he cheated. Now I'm in a situation where I'm willing to work on things, but the apology was not what I wanted it to be. It's not as grand. There were no flowers, there was no date, there was no constant I want to work on this. It was just, I apologize and this will not happen anymore. All I can do is show you through my actions. I personally feel like the apology should be grand when you do something so disrespectful in a relationship. So, what would you do or what should I do moving forward? And keep in mind, we've been together for quite some time. This situation happened in 2022. It's now 2025. I think he feels like in his mind it was in the past, but I'm just now finding out about it.
Mm. Hmm. I'm the wrong person to ask because I'm gonna tell you this. Make up with me how you messed up with me. If you was out here laying around with other women, blah 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 blah, the makeup needs to be as big as the mess up. I will drag your ass. I will drag you. I really have a like forgiveness thing. I'm the wrong person. Look, this is a little toxic. I'm the wrong person. I will drag your ass. It needs to be so big before I'm like it softens the blow.
Mhm.
I'm not an easy person that forgives. And I think when I'm angry, you'll hear loud and I'll be click and I but when you hurt me, I'll completely shut down. And so the makeup is very, very, very important to me. And I ain't mad at it. I think what I will say is that sometimes people are still processing. Like he probably like, damn, I got caught with this shit 3 years
Mhm.
later, and
Mhm.
he's probably still processing what needs to happen in order for you to uh feel like he this is a true apology. I think that I'm sorry is not enough, but I think that you have to. He said that he's going to show it through his actions. I wonder if he has started to see that through his actions. Also, applying appropriate consequences as well. Like, did you just let you said your long-term partner, was he back in that bed after you
Right?
found out? Where you was he Did you switch up? You can teach people how to apologize to you, right? You
Mhm.
gonna have to come find me and be outside my house, okay, slinging it around with a boombox, all right?
Mhm.
Like, what kind of consequences did you have for him? Like, was it access that was denied? Was it just emotional things that you just kind of started to withdraw? Did you have time, like, saying like, okay, we can talk about this at this moment? Like, what was your actual call to action when you found out that this person has betrayed you? And it really, people skip over counseling and things like that, but
Yeah.
a lot of people need a mediator to be able to get through things. And if you say a long-term partner, and I got questions about that, but long-term partners, sometimes you need mediation to
Mhm.
really figure out. Some people's apology language is just not the same, but they genuinely are sorry.
Yeah.
They genuinely are sorry. So you have thoughts on
Oh
this?
yeah, I got thoughts on this. So, the first thing I thought about was like the grand gesture of like flowers, gifts, whatever. It's like, baby, anybody can buy you flowers. Anybody
Yeah.
can get you a gift.
Yeah.
Him doing that one momentary thing does not fix y'all moving forward because it may
Yep.
have happened 3 years ago, but there's a reason why it happened. Y'all should be getting down to the bottom of why it happened.
Yep.
And then how are we actually making sure it's not going to happen again? Because it may have happened and had something to do with her. And not saying that she did anything wrong or deserves that, but there could have been something
Yeah.
that now she can be aware of and that they both can talk about and communicate to get on the other side of it. But what he said of like, I'm going to show you through my actions, I think that that is way more valuable than some balloons, teddy bears, flowers, some shit that is here today, gone tomorrow. How is he going to continue to show up for you in the rest of your lifetime? So if this happened 3 years ago, like Tissia said, getting a mediator, someone that can talk about what really happened. Because what really happened wasn't just him having sex with somebody, or I don't know if it was physical or emotional
Yeah.
cheating,
What
but
happened? Yeah.
what he did was he was led astray so much so from you to go and give that part of him to somebody else. Why? So if he's like, hey, I'm sorry that I did that. Here's what I've done since that has happened to make sure that I've worked on myself. The reason why I didn't share, because that's another thing. I'm like, I need context. How did you find out? Did he tell
I
you?
know.
Did
I
he
know.
get caught? Like,
I thought
how
that
did you
too.
actually find out? Because then that has a lot to do with his character. So he's just been walking around here acting normal for 3 years. And you had no clue, no inkling, because that's another issue. Because then that means he's able to hide and not give his full self to you in a way to where here you are 3 years later with a bomb dropped on you. So I kind of agree with him in a sense of I am sorry, I apologize and I'm going to show you with my actions that it's not going to happen again. That to me is more valuable. But I do think as a woman, you need to share how you need him to apologize. So I'm not a fan of women thinking men can read their mind. I'm not a fan of women thinking that if I act this way, he'll know to do. Use your words and use that energy, right? Like the same way where you're like, you don't have to be outside with a boombox in the rain. Why? Right? Like, why is he going to be that? How are you acting and how are you talking? How are you moving for him to do that? So I think that that's another thing is like, you need to let him know like, hey, this is how this affected me and this is what I'm going to need for me to be good. And if that means flowers, balloons, teddies, singing in the rain, cool. But it also needs to be all the other stuff. It needs to be the day-to-day action because you don't forget about that overnight. You don't forget about that
Yeah.
over a year. If it happened 3 years ago, she's probably going to be thinking about it for the next 3 years. So I feel like it's a combination. Tell him what you need, but at the same time, he got to put in the action. That should be the right answer that I'm going to show you with my daily actions. That is commitment.
So you know what I think is interesting is that I think to everything you just said, okay? Everything that you just said. But I think that so we're talking about like flowers and romantic things and balloons and all of that like grand things that she would want him to do.
Yeah.
And then we're talking about the like, hey, are you actually a stand-up guy? Are you actually gonna put in the work that's a lifelong investment
Yeah.
to like reestablishing the trust from the betrayal that we
Mm-hmm.
have now in our relationship? If both of those things were together, I feel like when a woman is like I'm assuming that this is like he had cheated. He
Yeah.
cheated in the past, right? That romance like lets you know that you're still invested in
Mm-hmm.
you and I as a woman. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you are sorry, you're gonna show me with your actions, but you was just fucking rolling around with Keisha and I found out about it. So now make me know that I'm your main woman
Mm-hmm.
and that you are now invested in that. And that's where the teddy bears and flowers
Yeah.
come into play. I just don't understand why a man would think that he can get caught in cheating and not do romantic things. And
Yeah.
it's not to say that those things are standalone and that there's no work, but
Yeah.
it can't be an apology if you didn't show up with something.
But
Like,
the other
how
thing
do
I
you
was
say
thinking,
sorry? Take me to dinner, buy me something, take me on a trip, let's
what
do a vacation, something. Like, how you show up with nothing? Talking about I'm sorry.
what about the fact that now that she knows that he cheated, as a man, don't you now then you're in the other boat and wouldn't you be a little insecure thinking that well maybe she gonna step out or do something because you did too? So it's also like this other energy, this other level of like, oh,
Yeah,
let me
mark
show
your
up. Yeah,
territory.
let me show
Yeah,
up.
let me make sure that the house is kept. So, like you
Yeah.
said, my woman isn't out wandering around. Maybe she gonna have somebody in her ear. Maybe she
Yep.
gonna, just honestly, just like she's not locked into the relationship anymore. That's what I'm saying. Like, I just can't see any grown man in a a long term partnership with a woman, and she found out you cheated, and you just like, babe, I'm sorry. It's gonna get better. I promise you, you're gonna see a change out of me. Nah, buddy. You
We're
you
gonna need
gonna
a
have
little bit of
you
both.
you gonna yeah, we're gonna need a little bit of both. Like you
A lot of
need
bit of
that,
both.
yeah, you need that other part where it's just like, maybe you planned a movie date in or something. I feel you, friend. I
Yeah.
feel you. I'm with you when you right, okay? And then I would need some gifts and some love
Yeah.
and some additional whatever too, because
Hmm.
yeah, I'm sorry isn't enough. And when it comes to like infidelity, you still want to be like, do you still like me? Are you still attracted to me? Are you still, here with me? And so
Yep.
yeah, girl, I feel you. I feel you. Um, what was the last part of her question? Did she say so? What would we do? What would we do?
Yeah.
Um, I think Bree, you're right that like communicating to him like what is it gonna take for you to feel be in a better place. I think that so many couples just do not know how to navigate conflict, and
Yeah.
I think it would be healthy to go to couples counseling.
Especially because, like I said, the woman is going to be affected in a way where you might be out at a bar one night and the right man looking the right way, saying the right things comes up to you. And because this thing has happened, now your psyche of how you even picture and think of and respect your man is different because now
Yeah.
you have this information you didn't have before. So it's not
Yeah.
just for his sake, it's also for your sake.
Yeah. And I always use this analogy. If you, every time you go somewhere, when you and I sat down, we sat in this chair, we never thought about if the chair was going to break.
Right.
Never thought. We sat down, we have full trust in this chair. The moment I go to a cookout, a show, a barbecue, anything, and I sit in that chair and that thing fold and break and I fall on that floor, I'm gonna for the rest of my life. I'm gonna be like, hold on, let me look. Is it okay? Can you hold all this weight? Can I sit? You're gonna. That is how it
Yes.
works when you break that kind of trust in a relationship. The person is gonna be thinking, to your point, not just about like, well, now I know my man cheated on me and I'm out and this other guy's trying to talk to me. It may change my mindset. But now I also know that, like, was it you that he was cheating with? Was it you? Was it like, now you're gonna be looking at girls different? You're gonna be like, what was your type? What was it? Why did you do that?
So many things.
So many things. You're always gonna be like, is this chair gonna break? Like, is it? So it's just a mental mind fuck that men have to, like, you have to be invested
Yeah.
in that type of debt when you make that type of mistake. And the craziest thing is that some relationships cannot handle the withdrawal of the, like, you didn't make enough deposits and it cannot handle that kind of withdrawal. And I always say that when people are like, oh, my husband cheated, should I stay? What kind of deposits that man made?
Right?
Did you have a happy 15? Because if I have a happy 15-year marriage and my husband step, baby, I can't say I'm going nowhere because the relationship
Yeah.
can withhold the withdrawal that the cheater made. Some of y'all be with these men and it was a raggedy relationship and then he go cheat and you definitely ain't got no, it's in the negative. You definitely ain't got no money enough to withhold that kind of withdrawal. And so it sounds like they may have had a decent relationship, but
Yeah.
I wonder if it can actually hold that type of, betrayal. Because I feel like you're gonna be walking around this whole time thinking about the chair gonna break.
Yeah. And that's natural, you know?
The one time that chair break, you're gonna be distrust. There's gonna be so much distrust around any chair that you ever sit in. So that's just that. And I think it's, man, you gotta watch what you do because you don't know how long you're gonna be in debt with
Listen.
that type of mistake. You don't know how long you're gonna be in debt, and you cannot change how quickly somebody forgives you and what their forgiveness journey looks like. So you gotta tread lightly. Hopefully she, you know, is a Christian woman that believes look turn the other cheek and, forgive. Okay. Anywho, yeah, but make up with me how you messed up with me.
I know it's all right.
Baby. Make it. I will drag you. I'll never forget it, baby. You gotta show up. Okay. My apology. It's hard to apologize to me, baby. It better be good. It better be good. Okay.